What is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic as always. Thank you so much for tuning into another video here on the Simply Car Things YouTube channel. And judging by the title of the video, you guys probably clicked on it because you're interested in seeing some modern day BMWs that are highly likely to appreciate in value in the not too distant future. So without further ado, if you guys could please smash that thumbs up button, as it'll help to spread this video to other users and enthusiasts that are interested in this type of content on YouTube, as well as subscribe to my channel down below if you haven't done so already. I post tons of content such as this video, along with car reviews, vlogs, DIYs, commentaries, and all sorts of useful automotive related info. With all that being said, let's get right into the first BMW on this list today. And we're gonna kick it off with the E92 BMW M3. Now, keep in mind, guys, as a sort of a quick disclaimer, when I refer to a lot of these cars down the list, I'm not necessarily talking about the average, sort of beat down 150,000 mile M3 or whatever other car that I'm going to be referring to. I'm talking more so clean, unmolested, low mileage, and perhaps with an individual color or with a manual gearbox specification of a car like this that will be most likely to appreciate in value. And that same notion applies to the E92 M3. Now, why the E92 M3? Well, let's just talk about the powertrain for a quick second, and that is one of the largest reasons right off the bat. The E92 features the S65. It's a cross-plane V8 engine, the only V8 engine that was ever featured in an M3, and the only V8 engine that will ever be featured in an M3. It's naturally aspirated. It revs all the way out to like 83 or 8400 RPM. It is motorsport derived. It shares a lot of DNA with the S85 V10 engine, and this motor, along with certain other V8 derivatives, were used in lots of BMW's motorsport programs and were used in a wide range of racing series and ended up proving to be very highly successful. And then on top of that, let's factor in the absolutely incredible sound that the engine makes, especially because it can rev out so high. And while it doesn't necessarily make the highest torque figure, and maybe even not the highest power figure by today's standards, it's an absolute gem of a driver's car. And then you factor in the gorgeous looks, the interior, the fact that you could get it with a 6-speed manual transmission, the last of the M3s with hydraulic power steering, and a wonderful limited slip differential that can put down the power very well. You really have a screaming machine of a driver's car. And just because of the way that other M3s, such as the E46 and even the E36, have been appreciating in value, the E92 M3, there's no doubt about it, it is likely to follow in the same track. So if you currently own a relatively low mileage, very clean, or very tastefully modified E92 M3, and it is finished in a nice spec, that's a car that I would seriously hold on to. I think it's highly likely that you're gonna see these cars eventually hit $50,000, $60,000 in the not too distant future, and already a bunch of LCI competition package models that are low mileage are holding their value really well as it stands. It's tough to find one of those specific cars that I just referred to below $40,000 already in today's market. So I think the future is very bright for the E92 M3 in terms of its market value. And even with cars like the E92 M3 GTS, which BMW only made like 200 of them, I think, or 150, I can't remember which one it is. There was one that went up for auction not too long ago, back in October of 2020, this year, that sold for $187,000 USD. And of course, that's the GTS. It's highly differentiated amongst the standard E92 M3. But if you have a clean one, as I stated previously, I would definitely hold on to it because I think there's a very good chance that that car is going to increase in value. Number 2 on our list of BMWs actually comes in with the F82 M4 GTS. Now, I'm pretty sure the initial reaction for most people is like, M4 GTS? What do you mean? That car lost its value like a brick. And while that statement is 100% accurate, I actually think right now is the perfect time to grab or pick up an M4 GTS if you have the financial means to do so. Yes, they are relatively expensive cars. I mean, you're looking at 75 grand on the low end to anywhere from $80,000 to $90,000 on the higher end for an M4 GTS, but this is a car that I truly believe will go up in value. I'm currently an F82 M4 owner myself, and trust me guys, if I had the financial means to pick up a GTS, I for sure would have. And pre-COVID, you could pick one up for under $70,000. I found two examples, one listed on AutoTrader and the other one was listed on a Facebook group for around $65,000, which was an unbelievable steal for that car. Now, why do I think the GTS will go up in value? Well, for one, it is truly the most hardcore variant of any F8X M car that you could have bought from the factory. Now, this is BMW's rendition of what an all-out track car would be, completely done by the factory. So we have factory adjustable coilover suspension, we have a factory fitted roll cage, no rear seats, single zone climate control, adjustable aero with a rear wing and a front lip, factory water injection for the S55, and tons of lightweight materials like the transmission center tunnel delete, which is made from carbon fiber, lightweight door cards with pull tabs, and so much other stuff went into the GTS that truly differentiated it amongst any other F8X car. And then you factor in that this was also a limited production BMW M4. I think initially it got a really bad reputation because admittedly the car was extremely overpriced from the factory. There's no doubt about that. 135 with like markups, people were paying like almost 150K for a brand new M4 GTS, which was just absurd at the time. And as a result of that, and then you factored in like all the critics bashing on the car, because at that price range, they're comparing an M4 GTS to cars like the 991 GT3 RS Porsche and then a Mercedes AMG GTR, which are just in a completely different league. I mean, those are full-blown supercars. And then the M4 GTS is trying to compete. It's just not in that same class of vehicle, although it is still wildly capable. And now that they have come down, shaved off about 50% of the valuation over the last 3 to 4 years, I think it's an excellent time to pick one up now. The F8X is going to be looked back on as a truly great M car generation. I think it's just going to take time, much like the E36 was initially hated by so many people. It was like the redheaded stepchild. And now E36s are beloved as track cars, and clean, unmodified examples are seriously appreciating in value. And in my completely honest opinion, I genuinely believe the same will follow suit for the F8X, particularly the F82 GTS. And the third BMW that comes in on our list today is actually going to be the BMW E60 M5 along with the BMW E63 M6. So I guess technically you could say that's 4 on the list because those are 2 separate cars, but they come from the same generation, and a lot of the drivetrain components are similarly shared, if not completely identical. And I almost forgot to mention that it has to be a manual transmission. Now, what's so special about this car is the fact that it was powered by the brilliant S85 V10 engine, which I know has a notorious reputation in the enthusiast community, but it truly is a very special power plant. And if you can take care of certain maintenance items, valve cover gaskets, alternator, rod bearings, throttle actuators, and all that sort of stuff, you will have a fantastic engine that produces such a epic soundtrack along with a lot of power. 507 horsepower is nothing to laugh at, especially for the time that the car came out in. It has 10 individual throttle bodies, dry sumped, forged lightweight internals, and it was developed from Mercedes' Sauber F1 team back when they participated in F1 in the early 2000s. Now, I recently reviewed an E63 M6. It was actually the previous video that I uploaded, and I will throw a video card to it at the top of the screen here if you'd like to check it out. And there's just so much going on with these cars from a technological standpoint that truly makes them one of a kind, and the cars are one of a kind. Now, I know you're also probably thinking, well, to find one in a manual transmission is extremely hard because there's just so few of them that were made. And I do fully agree with you on that aspect. And I definitely know that it's not going to be easy to source one with a manual, let alone one that's just clean and relatively low mileage. But it is possible. There are cars out there in circulation. They are significantly more expensive than one of the SMG equipped E60 M5s or the E63 M6, but even in today's market, I still think that it's a good buy. Personally, in the next 5 to 7 years, there is a very high likelihood that these cars will increase in value. This is perhaps the craziest power plant BMW has ever invested R&D into, aside from the S70 V12 that was used in the McLaren F1. And I think it is a gem. I think it's particularly evident that this will never be used or utilized or developed once again for another BMW in the future. And because of that, it is for sure going to go up in value. It is just a car that is too special on BMW's list to continue depreciating or sit at the bottomed out market value. I think now is a good time to pick one up. Maybe when the market corrects itself after COVID-19 is sort of over, and hopefully we see the used car market prices and valuations sort of shift back to what they were normally. I think the E63 M6 and the E60 M5, I sound like a broken record here, but I think there's a very, very high likelihood that it will continue to go back up in value with a manual gearbox. So if you can source one, I'd say go for it. Just knock out the maintenance items, bite the bullet on it, hold on to it, enjoy it, drive it, you know, have fun with it, do what you want with it, but overall keep it clean, and that car, you will see a rise in the market values. You heard it here first, guys. E92 M3, F82 M4 GTS, E60 M5, E63 M6. Those 4 cars are on my list today, and I hope you guys agree with me. I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope you found it educational, useful, valuable, whatever it may be. As always, if you could please smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the content that I put out on this video today. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Do you agree with my list? Do you have any other cars that you would add to the list, or perhaps maybe swap out? Do you disagree with me? Whatever the case is, I want to hear your opinions down below, and I'll be sure to engage with you guys in the comment section as always. With all that being said, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm going to be signing off. I'll catch you in the next one.